Hello and welcome to another beautiful day right here on Oweleke TV. It is Outnumbered live on your screen. We are reaching you live and direct from the capital city of Nigeria, Abuja. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, I have Thonia. Anthony Angokolo, you're looking so sharp this morning.
Thank you, Ramsey. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine.
It's good to hear that.
All right, let's get straight to the papers that we have for the day, and we're beginning with the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, where I have this headline all the way from Ondo State. The kicker says Ondo APC primary appeal committee confirms receipt of 3 petitions. Details on page 16 of the Nigerian Tribune. A judges' conference stalls hearing of EFCC's appeal challenging order stopping Yahaya Bello's arrest. The details you can get on page 30. Well, Yahaya Bello has, he's been on the run. But judges' conference has stalled the hearing of EFCC's appeal challenging order stopping Yahaya Bello's arrest. Well, we talked about that order sometimes back, but then it's still on. We're yet to hear anything. Judge reverse self vacate order suspending Ganduje. A lot of drama in this country, forth and back.
Yeah.
And the judiciary shouldn't be in this kind of position because, the judiciary is being held at a very high esteem. And right now, the back and forth is becoming something. And this is part of the reason why some persons, at a point in time, may want to lose confidence in the judicial system. Yeah. The judge reverses self vacate order suspending Ganduje. Details you can get on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Then the big story from the Nigerian Tribune this morning says a Nigeria not ripe for state police. IGP is the one saying that. I have some riders to that story, and I would like to take those riders. The first one says our fear state governments likely to use the force for political and personal gain. We talked about this some times back, that if care is not taken,
they would want to convert
it will turn to something else.
For their personal interest.
Their personal interest. The second rider says that once FRSC, NSCDC merged to become department under the police. Right? Proposes 30,000 increase in police recruitment yearly. State policing milestone in law enforcement evolution coming from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Just one more rider to that story. State police crucial to effective management of internal security, coming from an ex-president, Jonathan Goodluck. All right, details you can actually get on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Our federal government may adopt 18 years as university entry age. Details on page 3. I know this will interest a lot of people. Assert yourself over IMF downgrading ex-UK envoy tells Nigerians. Details of that you can get on page 7. A Rivers Assembly overrides Fubara, passes local government amendment bill. Page 4 is where you can get that. Rivers Assembly overrides Fubara, passes local government amendment bill. Federal government transfer regulatory oversight of Enugu electricity market to Enugu state government. Details on page 31. Illegal mining, fueling terrorism. Tinubu is the one saying this. Illegal mining, fueling terrorism. One writer to that story advocates comprehensive approach to combating terrorism. And finally, from the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the kicker said, Then the story says federal government set to resell distribution companies by July.
Interesting.
I don't want to say anything about this.
Interesting.
Federal government, I'm taking it again. Federal government set to resell distribution companies by July. Resell, remember, just underline that. Well, you can pick the Nigerian Tribune to just go through it for more stories. Over to you, Antonia, for the next paper.
Thank you, Ramsey. On the leadership newspaper, coastal superhighway projects not a priority now. This is coming from Peter Obi, and we'll have the details of that on page 4 of the on page 6, I beg your pardon, of the leadership newspaper. Moving on, Ondo APC receives 3 petitions over party primary, and that's on page 24. Federal government orders sale of discos managed by banks AMCON within 3 months. The story continues on page 7. Now, court vacates order suspending Ganduje as APC national chairman. The details of that you can find on page 24. And the big story here says state policing, IGP, CSOs object as Tinubu, Jonathan, Abdulsalami give nod. And we have some riders to that story, which says, we are ready to decentralize force. This is coming from the presidency. And then IGP kicks, wants NSCDC, FRSC merged as police department. That is to say, there will be a department in charge of road under the police force. Let's see how that plays out. Nigeria can't have internal security without state police. And this is coming from former President Goodluck Jonathan and Abdul Salami. Moving on to the next headline, Tinubu off to Netherlands, Saudi Arabia on official visits. The details of that you can find on page 12. Binance executive who escaped from Nigeria arrested in Kenya. That's on page 7. And also on page 7, foreigners illicit arms driving terrorism in Nigeria. This is coming from the NSA. And finally, on the leadership newspaper, Edo Guba campaigns kick off Wednesday. The details of that you can find on page 12. Now, moving on to away from the leadership newspaper, let us take a look at the headlines from the Daily Trust newspaper. Ondo APC primaries, 3 aspirants appeal against Ayedatiwa's victory. Court vacates order affirming Ganduje's suspension, and this story is on page 11. The big story here on the Daily Trust, it seems this state policing is actually across all the papers.
Yeah, I think it's something that's been on,
for a long time
they've
now.
been talking about it. Then the committee was actually set up to look into it. And some ex-presidents like Jonathan and, of course, Abdul Salami are giving a kick for it. They are saying, well, it's a good one. And some persons were seeing objections to it this morning. So I'm not surprised that most of the papers are carrying it this morning.
Okay, but Daily Trust has it different here. It says, IGP kicks as Jonathan orders canvass state police. And we have 2 riders. They say Abdul Salami, Akpabio warn against politicians' influence. This has been in constant talks. Current policing system ineffective. This is coming from Abbas. And Tinubu says he's committed to reforms. Father, son, and 1 order die in Kano trying to retrieve phone from latrine. How did the phone get into the latrine in the first place?
It happens. It happens. Sometimes I've had someone before, who had the same situation.
Is it like a pit toilet? Or...
latrine is a pit toilet.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be in your pocket, and maybe on trying to undress, it falls into the pit toilet. Then trying to retrieve it, and 2 persons are going down for it is what I really don't understand.
I'm trying to imagine what could have actually happened, like the scenario. So the phone fell, and they were trying to dip their hands into to.
It depends on the kind of latrine that it is already.
That it now led to death.
2 persons, a father and a son.
Father, son, 1 order. So 3 persons.
Oh.
So that's why.
It could be that maybe the pit toilet, the latrine, it's not a good one. It could be that it collapsed. Maybe on trying to remove it, or maybe they were trying to break it. And standing on top. Then the 3 of them collapsed into it. Maybe, I don't know how it is, but then I don't know how it actually happened. I'm just trying to think about it.
A lot of scenarios are playing in my head at this moment.
Don't say all.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Now, away from that story, federal government plans to peg varsity entry age at 18. Federal government plans to peg varsity entry age at 18. Moving on, after 16 years, Airspace Agency to raise navigation charges. And the final headline from the Daily Trust newspaper, terrorism. renew social contracts with citizens, UN tells Nigerians. And we'll have a rider to that story. Tinubu blames ransom and illegal mining. To get the details of the stories of the headlines we've mentioned this morning, go to your vendor, pick a copy of this newspaper. Over to you, Ramsey.
All right, thank you very much, Antonia, for those headlines. Let's quickly look at the New Telegraph newspaper. The story above the header says BVN, CBN's subtle threats, threats boost enrollment to 61.47 million. I take that again. The kicker says BVN. Then the story says CBN's subtle threats boost enrollment to 61.47 million. Then this one says S&P. Dangote refinery to start petrol supply in Q4 24.
Okay, I think it means the fourth quarter of 2024.
2024.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
we
good.
Hope
it's
to
a
see
good
that.
news.
We hope to see
heard,
that.
We heard diesel was going to be for 1,000 naira. He said instead of it was being sold above 1,000 naira, but he came up and said his is going to be 1,000 naira
to a liter.
To a liter. Then some marketers were actually saying he should reduce it to 700 naira. We're still waiting for when that will actually play out. But then I think the good news is the fact that we are now beginning to refine in our own country, not taking crude outside, refine and buy it back to Nigeria again, where some persons are taking advantage of. Still more from the Daily Telegraph this morning. NEC seeks regulatory oversight of Enugu-Ekiti electricity markets to EERC EERB. All right, details you can get on page 2 of the New Telegraph. From Ondo State now, Ondo APC, 3 aspirants protest Ayedatiwa's win. All right, petition party, appeal committee. That's the writer to that story. Petition parties appeal committee. All right, let's see how that is actually going to end. Well, a lot of drama coming from Ondo State, right from when Akeredolu was alive until now. Well, I don't know, but then the political system that way have some things in quote. I'm not going to say it right now. Judge reverses self, vacates order, suspending Ganduje. 2 riders to that story. Rivers Assembly overrides 3 and 26. All right. Okay. That you can get the details on page 3 and 26. Then the second rider says Fubara passes local government amendment bill. Okay, moving away from there, the big story on the New Telegraph newspaper this morning says IGP kicks against state police, wants NSCDC, FRSC meshed under NPF, that is the Nigerian Police Force. I don't know how that is actually going to happen. Then the writers to that story, Akpabio favors American policing system. Second rider, we can't manage IS without multi-layered policing system. Jonathan is the one saying that. Then we are determined to ensure police reform. Tinubu is the one saying that. We are determined to ensure police reform. Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is the one saying that security challenges gave rise to demands for state police. Abbas is the one saying that. Tinubu urges African leaders to address root causes of terrorism. Details on page 30 of the Nigerian Telegraph. Fuel scarcity hits Lagos again. Why is it hitting Lagos again? I don't know why that is happening. More story. This is going to be the last from the Nigerian Telegraph this morning. All right. Okay. From the New Telegraph, I beg your pardon. This is the last story. The kicker said, UTME. Why federal government may peg varsity orders entry age at 18 years by minister. Details you can get on page 4. And this is going to be the size of the newspaper review this morning. Let's go on a quick break. We will return from that break and we will talk about something very interesting. And it's going to be about the state policing. We will return. Don't go nowhere.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It is still outnumbered on Oweleke TV with Ramsey and Antonia. Straight to the big story that we have for today. Nigeria not ripe for state police. IGP is the one saying this. Someone may be thinking, hey, come on. It's like IGP want to be in charge, the Inspector General of Police. But then you look at the people who are clamoring for this state police, apart from politicians, you can see that ex-presidents like Jonathan, you hear Abdusalami Abubakar supporting the state policing. But then, if you look at the riders to that story, we talked about this sometimes back here, that this state policing, won't it be used as a tool? Because some persons are already of the opinion that even the federal police, sometimes they are being used
As
okay,
tools,
as
yeah.
tools. And that's the reason sometimes you hear the IG saying, withdraw police from this person, withdraw police from this person, and all of that. Now, if we have the state police, I don't know if they will actually not be diverted from the original cause, the reason why they were actually instituted. Because sometimes when the governors are in charge, sometimes, most times, I call them politicians because if you look at the way they came into office, you know that they are really politicians. You'll discover that anything is possible. But then you look at the security situation of the country, you will say, well, the state police will be made up of people from the locality, from that location, from the state, from the community, from the hamlets, meaning they may be able to know the people who are perpetrating this evil, this insecurity of a thing. But then, on the other way around, I don't think Nigeria for now, okay, is so ripe
Okay,
for.
that means you're agreeing with what the IGP is saying.
I'm not
That
really.
Nigeria is not ripe for state policing.
The reason why I'm actually saying this is because sometimes, okay, you're going to add your voice to the conversation in a moment, but then, well, I'm not trying to say the IGP is correct because everyone is entitled to their opinion. He may have his reason why he's saying this.
It's the IGP now.
Is the
So-
Inspector General of
yeah,
Police, of
so-
course. When we say IGP, we're referring to the Inspector General of Police. So, what do you think about all of this?
Okay, looking at the insecurity in Nigeria, one would actually agree with the people clamoring for state policing because, like you mentioned earlier, when you have people, security personnel that are closer to the grassroots, that are actually in these states, they'll be able to now your area person,
Yeah,
so to say,
you know
you'll be
me,
able
I
to
know
catch
you.
your area person better than, let's say, a Yoruba man goes to a northern state or an Igbo man goes to a western state. It will take some time for you to understand how that environment works before you go ahead to start catching criminals and all of that. So while state policing is good, there is this fear. It's there. That because we've seen now, even with this federal system, policing system, we've seen how governors, we've seen how even from the presidency, they ask the police withdraw them or send them on special missions and all of that. We've seen them being deployed to several states and them not also actually being up to the task in some areas. Not like they're not doing their job, but in some areas where you expect them to come out really strong, so to say, they do not. And all of these are the fears that Nigerians have in their mind. Would this be a case of, would they turn it to a personal security, like a private security system? Would they really safeguard the lives of and properties of Nigerians? But would we now say, because we are scared of these things happening, would not let's try out the state policing, let's see how it works.
All right.
And also, I also like the fact that they want to adopt, merge the FRSC and the NSCDC into it, because sometimes when you see all of these paramilitary, you'll be like, okay, is this not duplication? Though they have different roles, but it could actually be part of the police department. And that's why I said, okay, interesting. Let's see how this goes. If this is, because you have the Federal Road Safety Corps, you have VIO. You understand? You have VIO, and all of them. You have. There's one they call yellow fever or something. Then you have
That is the traffic warden.
those are the traffic orders. So all of these things, I feel, is it not duplication of offices? Are there no ways that this could be properly managed? So basically, I feel Nigerians should actually give state policing a try. And if the IGP feels the country is not yet ripe enough, what can we do to ripen the country, so to say? What needs to be put in place for the country to actually start state policing? Those things should actually be put in place. So we see how it goes from there.
Actually, Goodluck Jonathan said state policing is crucial for internal security management. Well, let's see how this is going to end at the end of the day. The merger, FRLC, that's road safety. Then you talked about the
NSCDC.
civil defense, okay? And the police merging together. How would it look like? Then state policing. Would that be the solution to the security situation in the country? All right, this is going to be the size of Outnumbered today. Thank you very much, Amphonia, for adding your voice to the conversation. And of course, thank you, viewers, for joining us today. We'll come on your way again tomorrow, same time, same station. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.